CGC Sports Illustrated reveal time. All right, what's up, folks? This is Brad. I've got a box of modern magazines back from CGC today. I think I've got 10 in here. Got 10 in here, and I'm going to share with you what I have. Most of them are Sports Illustrated. And let's go ahead and jump right in with this very first one. You've seen this one from me before. This is Novak Djokovic. This is Sports Illustrated China. It is from 2015. And up until a couple days ago, this was the only Novak Djokovic Sports Illustrated cover. He did not have any covers on the US version of the weekly magazine, which is kind of crazy because at this point he has potentially established himself as the greatest tennis player of all time. He's got the most majors. He's 2 up on Rafael Nadal. He's 4 up on Roger Federer. But I did see just a couple days ago, of course, this video is going to get released probably a month or two after I'm recording this right now. But as I record this on February 16th, they just announced that Djokovic is going to be on the March cover for Sports Illustrated for the US version. So that's actually pretty cool. But this one obviously, significantly precedes that. I have, this is the exact same copy I've sent in before. I already had this at a 7.0. I wasn't happy with my 7.0. I cracked it and I resubmitted it and it came back a 7.0 again. So you know what? CGC twice is now telling me this is 7.0. I still disagree with that, but at this point, I will settle. I will not send it in. This is the first time out of I think over 10 attempts at this point that I've sent in that I've cracked a magazine out of its slab, sent in a CGC and didn't get an upgrade. The only time I do that is if I think that one, CGC severely undergraded it, or two, it's a magazine that I think that I can improve and bump up, either through pressing or cleaning. This was one that I thought they undergraded, so I don't think I even redid anything to this one. I might have repressed it. I think I did repress it, but it came back a 7 again. So I guess I will just settle with the 7 on this Novak Djokovic. My first projection, the first time I sent it in was a 9.0. This time, the second time I sent it in, I was like, okay, I projected a 9. CGC gave me a 7. I'll meet you in the middle. I'll project an 8.0. Nope, they're still giving me the 7. So whatever, so be it. That's fine. In the pop report, there are only 5 copies of this graded. There's a 9.4, there's 2 8.5s, there's my 7, and there is also a 4.5. There have not been any sales on this issue. So I think it's pretty cool Novak Djokovic cover. I'm not a Novak Djokovic fan, but I do respect him. And I think it's really cool that he's finally going to get that US cover coming out next month. Coming out in March. Like I said, probably by the time that you're watching this video, that cover will be out. All right, moving on. Number 2. We got another variation of Sports Illustrated here, not the traditional weekly cover, but from 2005. This is Sports Illustrated on campus. So Sports Illustrated did a very short run of this SI on campus that was targeted towards college students, college campuses. Didn't last real long. This is probably the most collectible cover from that whole run. There weren't a lot of super collectible covers. I projected this at a 9.6. Oh, okay. So let me say, you just saw my Djokovic, which I projected at an 8 and got a 7. Here I projected a 9.6, really thinking I had a super strong 9.8 shot. They gave me a 9.4. This was a tough grader. So I know this isn't true, but this is the way it feels to me. I feel like CGC has 2 graders who grade all of my sports magazines. One of them is really nice, and he gives me very kind grades. The other one is really mean, and he's harsh, and he writes really thorough grader's notes, which on one hand is good, but on another hand, it's like, dang, dude, you're like deducting just the tiniest little thing. And that's the grader that I got in this box. That's the grade I got on the past couple boxes. There was a stretch for about like 4 or 5 months where I felt like CGC was being very gracious. They were giving me a lot of grace on my grades, and it felt really nice. And all of a sudden, like the last three boxes I've gotten back, I got that harsh grader again, and now I'm missing on a lot of my projections. The grades coming in lower, and usually I'm super conservative with my projections. So you know what? Whatever. It is what it is. Projected 9.6. They gave me a 9.4. I already own this in a 9.8. Also, sorry, can't stand LeBron James, so I'm gonna be selling this one. This is gonna be going up for sale, probably by the end of the day today. 17 copies of this one graded. This is a Pop 3 at the 9.4 level with 6 copies higher. There are 4 9.8s. Like I said, I do own one of those. Sales wise, an 8.0 sold in May of 2023 for $80. A 9.4, exactly like this one, sold in February of 2022 for $315. I don't think I'll get anywhere near $315 on this. I'd be super happy if I did. But I'll be happy with 100 on this, honestly, at this point. I do think that the market has started to come down because oversaturation has definitely occurred. You're now seeing lots and lots and lots of slabs pop up from multiple sellers, many sellers, and there's just not enough demand at the time right now. Not enough collectors interested in buying. The sellers are now definitely outnumbering the buyers. So if someone wants to give me $315 for this, that's great. But honestly, I'm expecting closer to 100 at this point, because that was 2 years ago that this sold for $315. And like I said, it's a little bit of a different game now. At that time, there weren't a lot of slabs available, and now 2 years later, there are, which I think overall is a good thing. I'm not surprised to see some of these prices going down. Um, I think it's a good thing that a lot more people have gotten involved. And I do think that over time it will kind of all even itself out. I think more collectors will come in, and also, the abundance of these is not super high. So I feel like lots and lots have gotten graded here in the past year. And then in these upcoming few years, I think that's going to slow down a lot because the supply isn't that great. So once again, I think it'll balance out over the next 5 years or so, but that's just what I've seen so far. All right, enough rambling. Next up, I actually have 2 copies of this same cover that got graded together, and it is the first Bryce Harper cover from 2009. Chosen one. He's still in high school for this cover. Bryce Harper is the most exciting prodigy since LeBron. And, of course, Chosen One was the same headline that they used on LeBron James' first cover when he was on the high school, or when he was still in high school on the cover. And you know what? Uh, nice job, Sports Illustrated, because those were two pretty strong predictions there. LeBron obviously has gone on to be one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Bryce Harper has become a multi-time MVP, big time player. So it's kind of tough to call someone a chosen one when they're still in high school, but they've done it twice, and both times were pretty strong predictions. So this one came in at an 8.0. And then I had this other one here come in at an 8.5 of the same cover. I projected a 9 for both. So once again, this grader was really rough on me. When I'm projecting a 9, that's pretty much me saying that's the lowest that I think this would get. I mean, to me, this is a 9.0 all day at a minimum. Like I really truthfully thought it could have come back a 9.2 or a 9.4, but I went with 9 because I thought, that's the bottom. Well, no, this grader says 8. So, okay, whatever you say. 8.0 Bryce Harper first cover, 8.5. By the way, 8.5 is by far my least favorite grade in existence. I cannot stand an 8.5 because I'm typically really happy with anything that's 9.0 or higher. And to me, the jump between 8.5 and 9.0 is pretty big. So that one burns me up a little bit. This is actually a regional variant. There were 2 covers that week. The other one showed the Detroit Red Wings closing in on Stanley Cup number 12. And I think that Detroit Red Wings cover is technically the first cover appearance for Sidney Crosby. It's a Red Wings cover, but they're playing the Penguins, and Crosby is kind of in the background. So, to me, it's not as collectible as the second Crosby cover because that one is, highlighting Sidney Crosby. But technically, it is the first time Crosby appeared on the cover. So that was the other variant cover this same week. I was really surprised at the pop count on this one. There's only 18 newsstands graded. I really thought that there would be more on this one. But once again, just shows you how tough some of these newsstands are to find sometimes. So 18 newsstands graded. My 8.5 is a pop 6 with only 6 higher. There are 0 9.8s. There's 1 9.6. I am going to sell my 8.0. I'm going to hold on to my 8.5. I'm going to keep it in the 8.5 holder for now, but I will strongly consider in the future resubmitting it to see if I can at least hit the 9. I do definitely think that this is a 9.0 or a 9.2. I mean, my true projection on this is like a 9.2. So I hate to see an 8.5, but we'll keep it for now, especially because, like I said, the pop counts are lower than I thought, and there's only 6 higher than this one. So a couple sales that I found, an 8.0, just like this one that I'm about to put up, sold in November of 2023 for $153. A 9.2, which is what this one should be, sold in October of 2023 for $450. An 8.5, which this one is, sold in October of 2023 for $200. So there you go. 2 Bryce Harper first covers. I'm going to sell one. I'm going to keep the other. I'm going to sell the LeBron James. I think those are the only 2 in this box I'm going to sell for now. The rest I plan on holding on to. All right. Next up, this one's not quite as modern. This one's 1986. First Sports Illustrated cover for Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. Excellent cover, slam dunking over the captain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 5.0. I projected a 6. Thanks again, Mr. Harsh Grader. Please give me the nice grader back. This is actually my second Hakeem Olajuwon first cover, and they're both 5.0s. The first one I had bought off of eBay, graded as a 4.5 like 2 years ago for like $50. Cracked it, resubmitted it, bumped it up to a 5, just to a 5. And then this one, I can't remember what my story was on this one. I think I just bought this one raw off of eBay. And got the 5.0. But yeah, once again, I thought it was a little better than a 5. I went with the 6. Olajuwon appeared on 4 weekly covers, and there's only been 15 newsstand copies of this graded, which again, pretty low. And so for that reason, I'm probably going to hold on to both of these 15s, or I'm sorry, both of these 5.0s, because I think that Hakeem Olajuwon is a highly collectible player. And I think that this is one that could potentially grow in value over time, just because I think I think it's pretty scarce. I don't think the pop count's going to grow super high on this one. So my 5.0s are pop 2 with 12 higher. Almost all of them are higher than my 2 5.0s. An 8.5 newsstand sold in August of 2022 for $400. The one 9.8 that's out there sold in a private sale, I believe, for $30,000 last year. This 5.0, both of my 5.0s, I would estimate a value between $100 and $150 right now. All right, moving on. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go. Halfway through. And this next cover, 1988. First cover for Charles Barkley. Charles the Great. I love this cover. I think this is a little bit of an underrated cover, and it might be underrated just because you don't see it very often. You don't see this one very often at all for it being 1988. And to me, Charles Barkley, pretty big time. Still, in the still in the limelight a little bit with TNT. I love to listen to him on TNT. He's just he's hilarious. He's brutally honest. I projected this at a 7.0, so at least I hit this one. I didn't miss this one over like I have the other ones that I've listed so far. This is the first of 7 weekly covers for Charles Barkley. There's only 8 newsstands graded. So that's what I'm saying when I say that this is underrated. I think I'm probably just it's more just that there's hardly any of them out there. You just don't see them. This is a pop one with 6 higher, so most of them are higher than this 7.0, but that's okay. I'm pretty satisfied with a 7.0 on this Charles Barkley first cover. If I recall correctly, yeah, the staples were really nasty, really rusted staples. I think that if the staples were not rusted, if the staples were in normal condition, this would probably be like a 9.0. This thing's in really nice condition, other than those staples. So I think I got, dinged pretty good on the staples. Let's see here. The highest one out there is a 9.4. An 8.5 sold in November of 2023 for $172. So there's that one. Newsstands are tough. Tough to find. The round amount of rebound. All right, we got another first cover NBA Hall of Fame type player. Uh-oh, lost my focus on the camera. Let's do this. And we're back. Okay, this is from 1991. Shaquille O'Neal first cover, newsstand 7.0. Another really cool cover, the real deal. Look at Shaq just slamming it down with LSU. One distinction that I like to make and that I've heard people ask about before is with sports cards, typically, a rookie card is from their professional career, and the collegiate cards aren't as valuable in most cases. And so the argument could be made, well, does that apply to Sports Illustrated covers as well? In my opinion, it doesn't. And the reason I think that is, for the most part, in sports cards, the collegiate cards were often like unlicensed cards, so they weren't quite as like legitimate as like a first pro rookie card that would be through a licensed company like a Topps or an Upper Deck. That's obviously not the case here with Sports Illustrated. It's the same brand, and I think it's actually cooler. It's a bigger deal when an athlete was able to make a cover before they were even a pro, whether that be in high school, like we saw with Bryce Harper, or in college with Shaq. I think that's even cooler. So that's just my 2 cents on that debate. This is the first of 19 weekly cover appearances for Shaquille O'Neal, so he was on quite a few. There have been 33 newsstand copies graded. This is a Pop 2 with 27 higher, so most of them are higher. There are 4 9.8s. I believe those are all owned by the same person. And an 8.0 newsstand sold in May of 2023 for $143. And this is definitely a long-term keep for me. I was a huge Lakers fan in the late 90s, and all through Kobe Bryant's career, I was a huge Lakers fan. So, definitely was a big Shaq fan as well. I'm not a Lakers fan anymore, but I miss those days of the Lakers three-peat. Those were some glory days in my childhood. Okay, let's go on to the next one. We've got 3 remaining. This is not Sports Illustrated. This is Time Magazine from 1982, and it is Joe Montana, Super Dreams 8.0. Wish I would have had this one about a week earlier. I'm recording this 6 days after the Super Bowl. I'm still heartbroken about it. I'm a huge 49ers fan. I had all my 49ers memorabilia out on display in the living room for the entire Super Bowl Sunday. I had Montana's first cover. I had the catch cover with Dwight Clark, and then I also had Jerry Rice's first cover. This one came to my house just a few days after the Super Bowl. Maybe if I had had this one up, we would have won. Oh, they were so close. They dominated most of the game and just couldn't capitalize. And then you can't let Patrick Mahomes hang around that long, and that's what happened. So anyway, this is a pretty cool cover. I projected a 7.5. Um, this is one of the very rare instances where an athlete is on the cover of Sports Illustrated, Time Magazine, and Newsweek magazine all on the same day. So January 25th, 1982, Joe Montana was on all three of those covers on the same day. Like I said, I do have the Sports Illustrated one as a 9.0. Excuse me. I do not own the Newsweek. I like that cover. It's a cool cover with him and Ken Anderson head to head, quarterback from the Bengals. Don't have that one, but now I've got the Time one to add to my collection. That same thing also happened with Secretariat, the Triple Crown legendary racehorse. Secretariat was also on Time Magazine, Newsweek, and Sports Illustrated covers all on the exact same day. I believe that was in 1973. So Joe Montana and the 49ers went on to defeat the Bengals for Montana's first Super Bowl win. The week following this, I think this was leading up into the Super Bowl. And, Montana did go on to win 4 Super Bowls in total. And let's see here. The label on this one is interesting. It says ties with Sports Illustrated, Volume 56, number 3 for first Joe Montana cover. And, I guess that makes sense because, like I said, it was released on the exact same day as the Sports Illustrated. But what I think is interesting is CGC has been a little bit more specific lately on their labeling of first covers. They used to just put first Joe Montana cover, if it was a Sports Illustrated. But here lately, I've been noticing that for a lot of these Sports Illustrated first covers, they're adding the specification, or they're adding the clarification that it's a first SI cover or first Sports Illustrated cover. A lot of my most recent slabs have had that extra clarification that it's not necessarily their first magazine cover, but it's their first SI cover. So this labeling is interesting to me. I don't know why I wouldn't just say first Time magazine cover, but I noticed that my slab isn't the first one to say this on this issue, so that must be something that they've had labeled for a while already. Maybe at some point they'll change that to say first Time magazine cover. That would make sense to me rather than saying ties with Sports Illustrated for first Joe Montana cover. But anyway, 17 copies graded on this one. This is a pop 2 with only 3 higher. So it is pretty high up there on the pop report for this specific issue. Highest is a 9.4. A 6.5 was the only sale I could find in newsstand, and that sold earlier this year in January of 2024 for $120. So, huge 49ers fan, love Joe Montana. Going to be keeping that one. Maybe next year, when the 49ers finally win the Super Bowl again, I'll get some good luck by including that Time magazine cover with my Niners display. All right. Speaking of the Super Bowl, speaking of Patrick Mahomes, here is his first Sports Illustrated cover, 9.4. This is actually a pretty big hit. Pretty happy with this. I projected a 9.2, so at least the grader was nice to me on one issue. And yeah, Patrick Mahomes' first cover, 9.4. Really happy to have that. This is my first graded copy of this. This is one of the, top 2 or 3 most collectible Sports Illustrated covers since 2010. Super, super collectible. I mean, Patrick Mahomes now, as of last week, 3-time Super Bowl champ, 3-time Super Bowl MVP. He is a 2-time MVP, regular season MVP, and so only him, Montana, and Brady have accomplished those feats. So he's already in the upper echelon of quarterbacks all time. He's only 28 years old. So Who knows? It's going to be pretty tough for anyone, I think, to track down 7 Super Bowl wins like Brady did. And also just the longevity that Brady had playing till 45 and owning all of the passing records pretty much. But if there's anyone that's got a shot to do it, it sure seems like it's Mahomes because he is ultra talented. And in a vacuum, if you're just looking at, peak and not overall greatness of a career, maybe just looking at like a single season or a single game, Patrick Mahomes might be the best quarterback we've ever seen. So, even though he broke my heart last week, I do like Patrick Mahomes, and I'm pretty happy to add this 9.4. 158 total newsstand copies graded. That's pretty high up there as far as Sports Illustrated pop counts. This is a pop 31 with 53 higher. So what that means is there are 31 9.4s, and there are 33 9.6s, and there are 20 9.8s. All right, last one. I had my little buddy wake up from his nap and come and join me. So this is my son. He's gonna help me with this last one. And we've got Michael Jordan Eastern Basketball Magazine from 1984 with the North Carolina Tar Heels. This is a pretty cool cover. So this was a regional magazine. I projected a 9.6. Once again, the grader did me dirty because I really thought that this was I really thought this was a 9.8 candidate, but so be it. This was an award-winning magazine. I actually bought this from the former editor of the magazine. He was selling a few of his, long time saved mint condition copies, and I picked this one up. There's 2 other covers from this publication that have MJ on the cover with North Carolina, so super collectible. And one of them, not this exact same cover, but a similar one that I think was from '83, sold in January of 2024 as a 9.6 for $1,650. So there you go. There are 4 copies of this cover graded, 2 9.4s and 2 9.2s. Really, really good chance I will send this back in to get graded again at some point. For now, I will keep it as the 9.2 and maybe wait until the harsh grader retires or moves on or something. And when I start getting the happy grader again, I might send this one back and see if I can get closer to the 9.6. So anyway, that's it, people. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not yet done so, please subscribe. I appreciate likes and comments. And until the next video, we'll see you next time.